I don't ask for abundance, I command it. Abundance doesn't answer to request, it bows to recognition. The moment you see yourself as one with Source, the flow changes. Not because you've mastered the right affirmations, not because you've prayed hard enough, but because the command is in your energy, and energy doesn't lie. Commanding abundance is not about shouting. It is not about demanding from the world in anger or desperation. It is about embodying the state of your original position, the one you held before the noise of lack ever touched you. There was a time before you were told to earn your worth, when you knew that every breath was proof of provision. There was a time you didn't chase, you didn't negotiate, you didn't shrink your vision to make it reasonable. You simply reached for what you wanted because you knew it was already yours. That knowing wasn't arrogance, it was truth. It was the way of your soul before the programming began. But somewhere along the way, you were trained to beg. You were told you had to qualify. That blessings were something to hope for, not something to live in. So you asked, politely, humbly, quietly. You asked with the same energy that reinforced the lie that you did not already have it. And the asking became a habit, and the habit became an identity. And soon, you forgot that you were never meant to ask in the first place. In the 3D world, asking makes sense. There is hierarchy. There is permission. There is someone above you holding what you need, deciding whether or not you deserve it. But in the higher realms, in the truth of your being, there is no hierarchy. There is no gatekeeper. There is only you and Source, moving as one. Command is not about force, it is about alignment. It is the calm, anchored knowing that says, "This is mine because I am one with the source of it. It exists because I exist within the infinite. There is no need to search for it, chase it, or win it. It already lives within me." When you command, you stop playing the role of the outsider. You stand inside the reality of abundance, and from there, you call it into form. And this is where most people get it wrong. They think command is about words. It isn't. Words are only the surface. Command is the frequency beneath the words. You can speak the right sentences and still be asking. You can say, "I am wealthy," while your energy whispers, "I hope it works this time." Command is when your energy is so certain the words become optional. When you embody this state, the world shifts around you. You begin to move differently. You begin to see differently. You begin to choose differently. You walk into the store differently, not hoping you can afford it, but knowing that provision meets you where you stand. You walk into a room differently, not wondering if you belong, but carrying the weight of someone who already does. You sit at the negotiation table differently, not pleading for a chance, but speaking as one who has already chosen the outcome. You check your bank account differently, not with tension, but with a calm awareness that it is ever growing. You speak about your dreams differently, not as possibilities, but as unfolding realities. You plan your day differently, guided by intention, not reaction. You even rest differently, because rest no longer feels like a pause in the struggle. It feels like the natural rhythm of someone who is sustained by an endless source, because the world responds to the energy you carry. And abundance recognizes its own. It doesn't arrive like a stranger at your door. It rises to meet you because you are already in its field. Commanding energy doesn't shout, but it cannot be ignored. It is the steady presence that shifts the atmosphere when you walk in. It is the confidence in your eyes when you have decided. It is the way you speak without hesitation. Some will feel it and be drawn in. Some will feel it and be unsettled. It doesn't matter. The command is not for them. It is for the reality you are shaping now. Abundance does not care if you are liked. It cares if you are aligned. Alignment is not about perfection. It is about honesty. It is about returning again and again to the state of already having. When you truly live in this state, your inner conversation changes. You stop explaining your worth. You stop negotiating your dreams. You stop measuring your vision against the limits of someone else's belief. There is no need to ask. There is no need to shrink. There is no need to perform for approval. I am one with the infinite source, and abundance is my natural state. This means my wealth is ever flowing and always increasing. Every moment expands my resources. Every opportunity multiplies my prosperity. Every choice affirms my position in the flow. Financial abundance is the dominant song of my life, and yet it does not stand alone. I live in the overflow of health, wisdom, peace, and love. My body radiates vitality. My mind is guided by divine insight. Peace surrounds me like a shield. Love flows to me, through me, and multiplies around me. But my wealth, my financial flow, is the river that carries all of it. And that river never dries. It only widens, it only deepens, it only accelerates. Because I do not stand outside of it, I am in it. I am part of it. And I am one with the infinite source from which it flows. I am one with the infinite source, and abundance is my natural state. Money flows to me with ease. Wealth responds to my presence. Every step I take confirms my prosperity. Every choice I make multiplies my resources. I move through the world as one who already has. I am surrounded by opportunities that expand my income. I attract the right people, the right ideas, the right timing. My wealth is ever flowing and always increasing. It grows while I rest. It grows while I work. It grows simply because I exist in alignment with Source. I am one with the infinite Source, and abundance is my natural state. I live in the overflow of financial prosperity. My bank accounts reflect expansion. My investments grow steadily. My hands are never empty. Money is my ally, my tool, my servant. It moves for me and through me. I am trusted with great wealth because I use it with wisdom. I am generous because I live in endless supply. The more I give, the more I receive. The more I receive, the more I give. I am the circulation point for limitless flow. I am one with the infinite source, and abundance is my natural state. Wealth meets me at every turn. Unexpected income delights me. Consistent income sustains me. I am magnetic to prosperity in all its forms. I choose thoughts that match my wealth. I speak words that multiply my money. I take actions that expand my resources. Everything I touch increases in value. I am one with the infinite source, and abundance is my natural state. My supply is ever flowing and always increasing. It flows from the infinite and expands without limit. I live in abundance of health. My body thrives in perfect balance. I live in abundance of wisdom. My mind receives divine ideas. I live in abundance of peace. I'm grounded, calm, unshaken. I live in abundance of love. My relationships are filled with trust, joy, and respect. And yet, I stand anchored in my financial abundance. It is the river that feeds every other area of my life. It is steady. It is powerful. It is mine by nature. I am one with the infinite source, and abundance is my natural state. Every day, my wealth grows. Every week, my finances expand. Every month, my prosperity multiplies. Every year, I rise to greater levels of overflow. I see abundance everywhere I look. I feel abundance in every cell of my being. I hear abundance in every conversation I have. I taste abundance in every experience I choose. I touch abundance in every moment of my day. I am one with the infinite source, and abundance is my natural state. I command it without fear. I hold it without hesitation. I multiply it without effort. I do not chase. I do not wait. I do not hope. I live as one who already has. I am the living proof of prosperity. I am the open channel of wealth. I am the presence that money loves to be around. I am one with the infinite source, and abundance is my natural state. It is in my mind, my body, my spirit. It is in my words, my actions, my choices. It is in my now, my tomorrow, and every day to come. Abundance doesn't come when you call it politely. It bows when you remember who you are. Abundance does not arrive by permission. It does not respond to begging hands. It bows when you remember who you are. This is not the path of polite asking. This is not the path of hesitant waiting. This is the return to command. Command is not loud. Command is not frantic. Command is quiet certainty in the bones. It is the natural pulse of source recognizing itself. When the command rises, supply bends. Not tomorrow, not someday. It bends now, because it was always bound to the one who remembers. The old pattern trained you to check accounts in fear, to measure, to calculate, to see if there is enough. That checking was a ritual of scarcity. It whispered lack every time your eyes looked for confirmation. But command changes even this. Over time, it reconditions the very nervous system from fear-based checking to command-based expectation. You no longer open your account to confirm scarcity. You open it to witness supply bending to you. That is the difference between living as a seeker and living as source. Every breath becomes proof. Every glance reveals overflow. What you once thought of as waiting for a miracle is replaced by recognizing yourself as the miracle. The nervous system stabilizes into trust until trust is no longer needed. It becomes knowing. It becomes the natural gait of one who walks as source, not toward it. The ground does not shake under the one who commands. The ground steadies itself to carry the one who remembers. There is no debt in the realm of source. Debt is the illusion of separation between supply and self. To live as source is to dissolve debt at its root, for what can be owed when all is already within? Scarcity was a dream you agreed to believe. Command is the awakening. When the awakening arrives, no interest can hold you, no lack can bind you, no balance sheet can measure your worth. Systems of the world bow to the system of command. Notice how the body responds when this is spoken. The breath deepens, the shoulders ease, the chest expands. This is not motivation. This is memory. The body remembers what the mind tried to forget. It remembers that supply has never been separate. It remembers that abundance has always been its nature. Every cell sings the truth back into being. And as the body remembers, the field bends. Circumstances shift. What seemed impossible begins to reorganize itself around the command. This is not wishful thinking. This is mechanics of source. The universe is not persuaded by begging. It is organized by command. Begging says, I am a part, let me be included. Command says, I was never a part. All is within me now. Begging collapses the nervous system into waiting. Command restores the nervous system into wholeness. One keeps you outside the gates. The other reveals you as seated within all along. Supply is not fragile. It does not run dry. It flows like an unbroken river, but only to the one who stops damming it with doubt. Doubt is the dam. Fear is the blockage. Hesitation is the stone that slows the stream. But command removes the stones. Command dissolves the dam. Command clears the flow. Suddenly, what looked like desert blooms. What looked like wilderness becomes orchard. What looked like drought reveals rivers hidden just beneath the surface, waiting for recognition. The shift is not about wealth alone. It is about identity. For when identity shifts, wealth is automatic. Identity was once shaped by scarcity. It was shaped by struggle. It was shaped by surviving. But this identity dissolves in the fire of command, and a new identity rises, one that does not live by wages, but by worth. One that does not measure supply by salary, but by source. One that does not calculate possibility by circumstance, but by command. The nervous system that once tightened at bills now softens at them. For bills are not threats. They are invitations. They are reminders of circulation. They are proof of movement. And as circulation flows, supply multiplies. The nervous system learns to see bills not as subtraction, but as expansion. Each one is answered by the field before the due date arrives. This is not optimism. This is law. The law of command cannot be broken. The law of source cannot fail. Notice what happens when the old reflex to worry arises. In the past, worry would spiral, feeding itself until it became a storm. But in command, worry is interrupted. It is met with remembrance. It is met with the quiet certainty that says, it is already done, and the storm dissolves before it forms. This is mastery, not because of effort, but because of identity. The one who commands no longer entertains storms that do not belong to them. The field listens to you differently when you stop asking and start remembering. Asking creates distance. Remembering collapses distance. Supply moves faster, not because the universe has changed, but because you have returned. The gates were never closed. You had only forgotten the keys were always in your hand. Now you walk without knocking. You enter without waiting. You sit without apology. This is the throne that was never empty. This is the command that was never revoked. Everywhere you walk, fields rearrange. Every system bends. Every need dissolves before it appears. You no longer chase provision. Provision chases you. You no longer reach for overflow. Overflow pours itself into your lap. This is not exaggeration. This is the ordinary life of command. To live as source is to normalize miracles until they are no longer called miracles. They are simply the rhythm of being, and this rhythm does not end. So let this settle deeper. Let it anchor in the body until it is not a thought, but a nervous system. Until it is not a phrase, but a breath. Until it is not an affirmation, but an atmosphere. Until it is no longer something you speak, but something you are. For when you are command, life cannot withhold. When you are source, supply cannot delay. When you remember, reality cannot resist. This is law, this is order, this is truth. And so, the walk continues. Not as one seeking, but as one seated. Not as one waiting, but as one reigning. Not as one hoping, but as one knowing. Supply bends to you. Provision multiplies for you. Overflow flows without end. In this knowing you live. In this command you rise. In this throne you remain. Without end. Without effort. Without apology. And yet, life invites you to take this knowing into the ordinary. Not just into meditations or moments of listening, but into the everyday rhythm of being alive. Think about how often scarcity sneaks into the smallest things. checking your phone in the morning with dread, wondering if bills or demands will appear, saying yes to something you didn't want, simply because you feared loss, walking into a store already calculating lack instead of noticing possibility. These may seem small, but they are rehearsals. Every repetition trains your nervous system either into scarcity or into command. So pause with me now. Imagine tomorrow morning, before you touch your phone, you take one breath and say quietly inside, "Supply bends here." Notice the difference in your body. It is subtle, but it matters, because the body remembers, and as the body learns, the field responds. Commanding energy is not reserved for grand declarations. It shows itself in daily posture, in the way you stand when you introduce yourself, in the way you breathe when you look at your account, in the way you answer when someone asks for more than you want to give. Scarcity collapses the chest, quickens the speech, and apologizes for existing. Command lifts the spine, slows the breath, and speaks without negotiation. So I invite you to practice. Today, choose one ordinary moment and infuse it with command. Pay for something and whisper, "Circulation, not loss." Decline something and say, "Alignment, not fear." These small acts accumulate until your nervous system no longer rehearses collapse. It rehearses overflow. Let's make this personal for a moment. Where in your life do you still negotiate with lack? Is it in money, time, love, or energy? Comment below with one area where you are declaring shift. Write, "I decree alignment in," and then add your truth. Naming it anchors it. And when others read it, they are reminded of their own power too. This is not just for you, it is for the collective. Scarcity has been loud for centuries, but when we declare together, that noise weakens. Your declaration is part of that weakening. And let's be practical. Command does not mean doing nothing. It means doing without desperation. It means sending the proposal, but not pleading. Showing up for the interview, but not shrinking. Launching the idea, but not clinging to outcome. The actions look the same on the outside, but the energy is different. One depletes, the other multiplies. Scarcity-driven action says, "Please let this be enough." Command-driven action says, "Of course this adds to my overflow." The universe mirrors the one you choose. Here is where remembrance deepens. Command is not arrogance, it is alignment. Look at the ocean, it does not apologize for waves. Look at the tree, it does not apologize for shade. Look at the breath, it does not apologize for sustaining you. Why should you apologize for overflow? When you command, you do not take from anyone else. You stand in the rhythm of sufficiency that has always been here. Scarcity taught you to think supply is limited. Abundance shows you that circulation is infinite. So practice with me. Breathe in. Say silently, "I live in overflow." Breathe out. Say silently, "I circulate abundance." Every breath becomes declaration. Every step becomes command. And yes, resistance will rise. The mind may whisper, "But what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? What if I lose?" Smile gently at the mind. Say, "Thank you for trying to protect me. But today, I choose remembrance." Resistance is not an enemy. It is proof you are stepping beyond the old map. Treat it with compassion, not war. Thank it and keep walking. Here is the truth. When you walk as abundance, life cannot help but rise to meet you. Opportunities find you because your field has shifted. People notice you, not because you shout, but because your presence carries weight. Systems bend, not because you force them, but because alignment cannot be ignored. This is not magic thinking, it is mechanics. Scarcity collapses your nervous system into waiting. Command steadies it into receiving. And the steadier you are, the more reality organizes around you. So let this moment be a turning point. Say aloud now, wherever you are, I don't ask for abundance, I command it. Say it once, feel it. Say it again, deeper. Say it a third time. Let your whole body hear. This is not about repeating for repetition's sake. It is about saturating your nervous system until it cannot forget. And before we close, I invite you, share one declaration you are anchoring today. Maybe it is financial overflow. Maybe it is peace. Maybe it is love. Whatever it is, write it, decree it. And if these words have reminded you of your own throne, your own crown of enoughness, then subscribe. Not for numbers, not for vanity, but because this space exists to keep you aligned, anchored, and resourced.